Fight back! Fight back! Fight back! Fight back!
This is genocide! This is genocide!
This is genocide!
This is genocide!
This is genocide!
This is genocide! This is genocide! Reparations! 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 Reparations!
One Africa!
One nation!
One Africa!
One nation!
One Africa!
One nation! One nation!
Touch one!
Touch all!
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 We gonna say fist up!
Fight back!
Fist up!
Fight back!
Fist up!
Fight back!
Fist up!
Fight back!
Uhuru!
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 Reparations! White people owe us money! For white people! We want everyone to gather right here.
Around on both sides here.
Allie, are you holding on to that?
Yeah, but I can't.
We want to try to get people to get. Okay, good. There we go. All right. Uhuru. So, this. Uhuru. Uhuru. Unity through. Unity through. Unity through. No more genocide in our name. No more genocide in our name. No more genocide. No more genocide. No more genocide. No more genocide. Uhuru means freedom. Uhuru. We want to welcome everybody for standing with us today under the banner of Reparations Now. This demonstration today is sponsored by the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. We are the organization of white people working under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. And our job is to go into our own white communities and organize other white people like ourselves to stand in solidarity with the Black liberation struggle, with African people in the U.S. and around the world who are fighting to reclaim control of their wealth and resources that have been stolen from them for hundreds of years to benefit us in the white community. We want to start off by saluting the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. We say, long live Chairman Omali Yeshitela. Long live. We salute the Deputy Chair of the African People's Socialist Party, Onizene Yeshitela. Long live Deputy Chair Onizene Yeshitela. Long live. Long live the African People's Socialist Party. Long live. And we are going to be hearing from the President of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement in just a few minutes. We want to salute the presence of Impidum President Kalambai Antoinette Uhuru. We also have with us today, so we are here to stand firm in our message and to be undeterred by nothing, that we are here for reparations. We have a right to be here and stand in solidarity with the African community on the fight for reparations. If you agree with that, say Uhuru. 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 So we are focused, we are determined, and we are here to take this stand for reparations to African people. And this symbol of genocide and slavery, almost 1,000 tons of stainless steel representing what? Slavery, genocide, and colonialism. So we want to salute everybody who's here today, and to kick us off, it is my honor to introduce the chairwoman of the African People's Solidarity Committee, who has been in the trenches on the front lines under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party for over 46 years, Chairwoman Penny Hess. Uhuru.
Reparations now! Unity through! Unity through!
Reparations!
Unity through!
Reparations!
Hurrah!
First of all, I want to salute everybody who came out today to take a stand for reparations to the African community. My name is
Have you given any money?
I'm the chair
Have you
of the
given any
African
money?
People's Solidarity Committee.
Have you given any money? Where's your pocketbook?
That was formed by the African People's Socialist Party, working for the liberation of Africa and African people everywhere.
Like, he could not just come over here when black people been struggling for 600 years and be disrespectful. But his fake ass freedom that I have with that little bit. Oh, you better go somewhere, I'm telling you. For real. You can't do that. You know, but it's not right now. Get around things like that.
Uhuru! We are here today. This is sponsored by the Uhuru Solidarity Movement under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. We are here today as the white community to stand in solidarity with the right of African people to be free and liberated, and to have their stolen resources returned to them. We have a right to be here. We are here, and I want to start by saluting my leadership, Chairman Amalia Shatella. My leadership, Chairman Amalia Shatella, who is the leader of the African nation, who formed the Solidarity Committee, and who fights for the liberation of Africa and African people everywhere. I want to salute Deputy Chair Onizanae Shatella, who is the coordinator of the Blackfall Blueprint that is building economic and political power in the hands of the African working class. And I also want to salute today the president of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement, Kalambai Andanet, who is struggling every day to bring reparations and political power into the hands of the African community of North St. Louis and everywhere, all over the world. Very courageous. It's an honor to be here today and to be under the leadership of leaders of the African community who have never given up, who are still fighting and who are winning. And I want to salute Alderman Jesse Todd, who is here with us today. I just want to say that Alderman Jesse Todd is for the people. He is not an alderman who uses his office to fill his pockets and to enrich himself off the suffering of the people. He's part of the people. He's one of the few honest aldermen here in the city of St. Louis. Really salute you. Thank you very much for coming. I want to salute Zaki Baruti, who I see is here today. Thank you for coming. It's an honor to be here. And I think it is really important that we are here today. And I want to ask, first of all, do people know what this arch represents? Do people know what this arch represents? Because it represents genocide. It represents colonialism. It represents the enslavement of African people. And I want to say, first of all, that St. Louis was the center staging ground of the entire United States. The entire United States. from here of the genocide of the indigenous people. At Jefferson Barracks, they rode out on their horses to California, to Minnesota, to the East Coast, all the way killing the indigenous people to steal their land. That's what this arch represents. It represents manifest destiny. That is another word for genocide. Genocide against the indigenous people, and recognizing that white people are the settlers, that this is colonialism. This is what Chairman Amalia Shatella has stated as colonialism as the mode of production. This is how white people have gotten everything that we have based on living and participating in the genocide against the indigenous people. And we are across the street from the old courthouse where African people, African human beings were sold as property on those very steps right there. And right there is the statue of Dred Scott and his wife, Harriet Scott, who filed for their rights to be free human beings. And the Supreme Court ruled that they had no rights that any white person had to respect, thereby instituting the colonialism inside the borders of the United States and making it clear that African people were not citizens of the United States, but something as a mechanism for white people to get rich. So, as the chairman says, this is colonialism. And colonialism means that a whole people dominates through the power of the gun and violence and oppresses and steals from other whole peoples. And if we recognize that there is colonialism inside this country, because it's not enough to say that it's racism, it's not enough to say that it's the ideas in people's head, in white people's heads. Yes, there are these ideas in white people's heads. We see that today. But the fact is that there is a state power. There is a state power with the gun. And the gun is sometimes deputized white people who could carry out 10,000 lynchings against African people. No white person ever paid a price. It was sanctioned by the state. And in fact, if you notice, the anti-lynching bill was just ratified by Congress like last week. Last week, it still is something that the U.S. sanctions the deaths and murders and slaughters of African people for the benefit of white people. So the point is that we are here because as white people, everything we have has been stolen. We live on the ground soaked in the blood of the indigenous people. We own property that is not ours. We don't own it. All the resources, the social wealth, even the ability to have democratic rights comes because of the enslavement of African people, the social wealth that enables white people to pass down wealth and property from generation to generation is because the labor, the resources, the genius of African people here and around the world have been stolen into the hands of white people. And that's just the way it is. And I challenge anybody to look at their history and say that's not true. This is recorded history. This is the fact. And so we are here today to say that white people are the colonizers. We have lived at the expense of everybody else. That we are here because we don't want to be in that position anymore. We want to make ourselves criticism, and that means reparations. It's not charity, it's not a favor, it's returning what is owed to African people. It belongs to them, it is theirs, and they are working for political and economic power, not some struggle against racism. So I also want to say that the Uhuru Solidarity Center has just opened at 2654 Gravois. I want people that belongs to Black Star Industries and the African People's Socialist Party that we are able to organize in. We're going to be having a grand opening in the next few months, and really want to welcome everybody to come out and we're going to have a historic banner that says "Unity through Reparations" right there in Gravois Avenue, taking a stand for the white community that we owe reparations. That is the future of this planet. So I want to turn it back over to Jesse and say "Unity through reparations."
Uhuru! Give a round of applause for Chairwoman Penny Hess. Unity through
Reparations!
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 Uhuru! It's now my great honor to introduce the president of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement and a former candidate for alderperson here in St. Louis who ran on an electrifying platform of reparations to the African community, President Kalambali Angelica. Uhuru! 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 Uhuru!
Uhuru, as it has been said, my name is Kalumbai Herdosha Benton. And I just want to say, first of all, as I was preparing and getting ready for this, I couldn't help but to remember the first time that I went to the Arch and how I went to Parkway. Let me slow down because it's a lot that I want to say, and I'm going to say it all. But first and foremost, I have to salute my leadership. Chairman Amala Yeshatella, I really want to appreciate my leadership, Chairman Amala Yeshatella, and I appreciate him coming to St. Louis Ferguson 7 years ago when Mike Brown was murdered in the street. Because I was so in a bad place of trying to understand the conditions of Black people. And it was this movement that helped me to understand everything that I'm about to say to you right now. It gave me the understanding of what I was experiencing when I was a little girl. Why my dad came back from Vietnam with an itch. That no matter how good a father he was, that dope became his best friend. And no matter how I knew he loved me and see the tears in his eyes, but the dope kept calling. And I couldn't understand that. And I couldn't understand why my brothers was murdered in 95 and 97 on the streets of St. Louis, Missouri. I couldn't understand why my community kept disappearing. I couldn't understand why I get on the bus and I go out to Parkway and see a whole different life than I was experiencing when I went back to Walnut Park. But as I was saying earlier, I remember going to the Arch, and I actually never been all the way up because my teacher declared that I was a menace to society at a very early age out at Parkway with this broken system. This is colonialism. No matter what people think or say, the science is in the pudding. That we know that the mode of production was slavery. That we couldn't talk about capital. We couldn't talk about how capital came unless we go to slavery. Because before they had dollar bills and before they had capital, who built the capital? So the mode of production begins with slavery. So this system could never, ever, ever function and work without slavery.
Right.
So no matter if we're on the plantation, or we're in 2022, Black children walk down the street with Skittles and get murdered, or young boys going to stores and now because they got a ski mask on, they a criminal. Shut down schools in St. Louis City and build jails for our young people, so they're more concerned about sending us to jail with spy planes that we have all the people united with and still struggling right now that the state, the federal government gave more stimulus resources to St. Louis than most cities, but the people ain't got the money. They giving it to the police. And we know with the numbers of the coronavirus that our community was impacted more than any other community in the world. So if the money's supposed to go to where it was impacted at, why is not in our pockets? Because somebody is leaving this city. So as the world changed, you see white people. And see, Chairman Angelica and the Rural Movement been on the right side of the question way before people got scared of fascism. And white people sort of trying to figure out how to build gardens and all these things that they trying to do right now. The party understood this, and Chairman said that the equilibrium is imbalanced. And he called on white people who destroyed it and rebuilt it and destroyed it because he said that it had to be based on principle, not us liking white people, not about if we marry them or if we date them. True solidarity. How do we say it impact our life? Because just because I had a child and that black child is by a white woman do not change the conditions of African people. Just because I have a white friend that never said the N-word and cool as a fan do not mean that my life has changed. We can't share power. So how do we solve this? It's a revolutionary issue, and revolutionaries have to solve it. And the African People's Socialist Party, a vanguard party that have put Africa on its shoulder, answer the question of white people. And it has laid out exactly the assignment what white people are supposed to be doing. Not these white people came up and said, we're going to go in front of the arch and make some noise. No. Everything, every plan, every strategic thing is answered by the revolution, a black revolution that set the terms of what white people should be doing. You don't come up with your own ideas of what black people need. You could never understand what it feels like to be on fire unless you're on fire. You can stand there and say you sympathize with the person on fire, but unless you felt that fire, you can't come up with a solution. Black people been on fire for 600 years, so black people gonna have to have a solution of what that looks like. And we say unity through, unity through, unity through, unity through, reparations. All white people, poor white people that date black people, all white people, all reparations. Jewish white people, all white people, all of you. I don't care where you came from. You all have benefited from a pedestal that sit on the colonized people's back. That's right. So all white people owe reparations. Every single one. All reparations. Ain't no exception. So we say that, how do white people join humanity? How do white people join humanity? By working under the leadership of African people, under the leadership of Chairwoman Angelica and the Rural Movement in USM, learning how to unlearn their whiteness, not racism. No, I'm not out here trying to convince white people to stop being racist. Matter of fact, I don't care what's in your head. Because what am I going to do? Bust all white people's head and see if they really racist or not? That's too much at stake. My daughter's future is at stake. My daughter's future is at stake. So I can't base that on something in your head. I can't base that on some subjective feelings that you might have about me from day to day. But I can base that on if I have power. Because you're a learner like me. Let's give me the same power you got. We got power, you got power, we got power. I have a court system that protects me. I have a school system that works for me. I have a system that works for me. This is the only way that I know that my child's future is redeemed. Until then, and only then, we will be fighting for power, not likes. So it's not Black Lives Matter, it's Black Power Matter. We need power as a people. It's power that hurt us. It's power that hurt us, not ideas in white people's head. No, it's a social system that's at place. It is colonialism. It's the mode of production, and it has to produce slaves. And we say that mode has to be destroyed. That mode can't exist no more. That mode is corrupt from the foundation of how it even came into existence. And it was created in the hands of man, not God, not some superpower, but in the hands of white men that have came and looted and committed genocide against humanity. So man, African people can be redeemed. Listen, we are winning, y'all. We are winning. We have the Black Power Blueprint right here on the grounds. You want to see where reparations go? They talking about reparations and this money. Yes, come to 4101 West Florissant to the Aqua Hall. Right across the street, you look at the red, black, and green sign real high. Do you know what it means? Do you see our garden? And then you can come every Saturday starting in April all the way to October the 29th, where we are creating, we ain't begging, we ain't asking nobody for nothing. We are creating our own grocery store, a way that we can build economic development to the Black community, where we will be accepting EBT, yeah, it's circulating in our own community, where we're going to be helping businesses, Black businesses, to store those shops. No, we ain't begging for a job, we're creating a job. This is what true economic development is, not people for Walmart to come in your community. Yes, brother. That's what I'm talking about. This is what Black Power is. How do we feed, clothes, and house ourselves? How do we feed, clothes, and house ourselves? That is the real question. How do we feed, clothes, and house ourselves? That is the true question. And that's what we're solving. So right down the street, we're going to be having a basketball court. Yeah, my brothers, my boys, they was outside playing basketball and getting harassed by the police saying you can't be in the street. Cool. We're going to build them a basketball court. We ain't begging for nothing. Reparations, and we got the money, and we're going to put that basketball court. Black people say what we're going to do. Yeah, so white people come, they don't get to say, oh, well, I'm going to get this money, but what you going to do with it? No. It's reparations. And then we tell them what we're going to do. The community said we want a basketball court. We put a basketball court there. The women on the street said we need a way to have our babies in safe environments. So we got 25 women going through a doula program under the leadership of Deputy Chairwoman Angelica, stone cold African working class woman from St. Petersburg, Florida. Bad. Came to St. Louis and built the Blackfall Blueprint and actually showing you concretely with our women's clinic, y'all. The free women's clinic where they're gonna be able to go and check about themselves. In an environment with love, with an environment where we understand the conditions that's been placed on our people. So we ain't telling the victim that you did this to yourself. We tell them that we understand the conditions, but we got to rise up and be the mighty people that we know we can be, because we got somewhere we're going, and we have a destiny. And we said Africa is our home. Africa is our birthright, and we coming forward. But we ain't moving here until we can take all our stuff with us. We built this. My ancestors back in sweat built this. Built this, so we got work to do. We got work to do. And this is going to save humanity, where you can be who you want to be. White power has set the terms on who is you and who is they. But we say that the African nation, we got to stand up, where the whole humanity is liberated. My time is up, but I am excited for St. Louis. I am excited for African people all over the world. I am excited for the Vanguard Party, because we win. That's why they gotta be here and stand here, because we're winning. We're going to take our stuff. So you can be on the right side of the question, or you can get stumped on. Unity through! Unity through! Unity through!
Let's give another round of applause for President Columbine and Dred. Just want to express my unity with that statement. The voice of the leadership of the African working class. Uhuru to President Columbine and Dred, President of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. Uhuru. And now I am very honored to bring the People's Champion, the Alderman for Ward 18. We have Jesse Todd, who will be joining us, and we are very honored to have Alderman Jesse Todd here today
who has fought relentlessly for the interests of the people on the north side of St. Louis. Woohoo! Alderman Jesse Town.
First of all, coming behind my leadership, Columbia, that's pretty hard to take care of. But let me first of all salute Chairman Marley Yesatella, DC owner, and my president and leadership, my international president, but my leadership right here on the local level, 4 feet. So you see, I'm fine with 4 feet on it. That's my leadership there. So I'm just a Uhuru member, lifetime member that is. So one of these days, I may, if I come back, I may get a second life. If I expect to come back, I will get a second lifetime membership later on so that I can come back and be a Uhuru member again after Africa is liberated. But let me first of all salute the chairwoman of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, Penny Hess. Let me salute some of my other comrades, Jesse Neville, I know him by name, and the rest of the comrades who are here, since this is a Uhuru convention, Solidarity Committee convention. I want to salute all of us and anyone here who is a member. I want to salute all of you all who are holding the flags for reparations. Let me say this. I've been in the movement more than 50 years, various movements. They've been broken up by the government and all the other stuff. And I've been active all my life, one way or another. And I worked with whites before, but I'm telling you, I'm gonna say this about the whites in the Uhuru Solidarity Committee. I've never met white people who have just told the truth unapologetically, with facts to back it up. It's no exaggeration that for the last 7, and I want to say this, they don't just tell the truth. They not only talk the talk, but they walk the walk. Give you the best example. Uhuru House helped to put that together. Then I walked, and I mean, it's a beautiful house. This is high standards. Then the basketball court, the farmer's market, had the honor to go there. Then the basketball court. And then I've been to prison myself, so I know how hard it is. Right there with the Uhuru Solidarity Committee is right there fixing that up. So then not only are they on the ground, but they are behind enemy lines. Over there in South St. Louis, not one white group, long as I've been there, has ever gone into South St. Louis and done it. Not even black people, not even black politicians don't go there, except with the hand in their head and bobbing and weaving. So I'm saying a white group. And I'm gonna tell you, I carry y'all over North St. Louis on my shoulder as bold as you are. A white group in South St. Louis, the heart of South St. Louis, on Bradford, is getting ready to open it up a Solidarity Committee house. And it has a flag. They're not underground, just hide this stuff. This is good, hard-hitting stuff. Open up the building, then gonna put a big old banner up. Look, you need to pat we all need to let's give the Uhuru Solidarity Committee a hand for being so bold and so truthful. These are our friends. Now this is a friend. But let me say this. So, and then the books. We have a great art. I would be remiss if I didn't say that the book I always refer to is by Penny Hess, Chairwoman Penny Hess. It's called Overturning the Culture of Violence. I quote that book amongst whites that I'm gonna distribute the book to when I'm in these white groups that have white constituents and everybody, various constituents in the diverse community. And I'm gonna distribute a book to them. Hopefully they'll join in with your group and they can be under your leadership, but I have to bring them along. But the point is, that's an excellent book. I quote that book amongst anyone and black people, as well as on the board of aldermen. I tell them, all of them, but black and white, when they talk about the silliness about getting more police to which is draining the so-called public safety, which drains almost half of the budget. But instead, they should be reading Comrade Penny Henson's book and see. But when we talk about reparations, and for the last 700 mothers and 600 years, the Europeans have been kidnapping, stealing people and our resources and bringing them here to make Europeans all over the world rich and make us poor. And then when we get to America, for more than 200 years, our ancestors cleared the land from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean and then worked the land for 0 pennies, and we deserve reparation for that. I was born on a plantation in Mississippi. When you work from sun up to sundown, you start working when you can walk and use your arm. And then they tell us now that we are lazy, or we don't, and we deserve reparation for that. Well, they said, well, you went to Mississippi and St. Louis. Let's talk about here. They always tell me, you always talk about there. I'm gonna tell you right here in America, right here in St. Louis. St. Louis took our taxes, took my uncle's taxes. When I got here at 11 years old, learned to swim at Fairground Park. They told out, we would swim, we made them integrate. When I was 12, I learned to swim there. We were swimming and the riot broke out. Of course, I was leading the riot right from Mississippi. I got up and started leading it. But the point is, they tore that pool down. Fairground Park is right down there near Grand, in between Vanderbilt. They tore that big Olympic-sized pool down because Black people began to use it. Concreted the pool, concreted and opened up a pool 1/10 the size that it used to be. And if you notice right now in St. Louis, there are 110 parks without any activities, and it's shut down after Black people moved in, and they decided right today that instead, since Black, they'd rather shut the whole parks department down rather than having Africans using those parks right today. So it's not yesterday, it's today. It's under the leadership of the Black and white misleaders, most of them. Black faces, white with white power. That's what they are. And I tell them to their face that so we can talk about forestry. Same thing, grass supposed to only grow 6 inches. It grows in North St. Louis more than 6 feet, and when they cut it, it's thrown every place. Then the same thing again with grass. Buildings falling down. I've asked them for almost 50 years. All of these things, I've been fighting it. They fight me. I'm wrong. They try to get rid of me. They redistrict me out. They put me so-called want to punish me. They say they're going to put me in the district where I can't. They didn't say this, so I'm not going to slander them. But the point is, people get mad at me when we pay taxes, but the building has been falling on people. We found dead Africans. One little girl, her head was decapitated. Another African woman was found in one of the buildings in the 18th ward, tied up, and she died. Another African woman not too long ago, this winter, died, froze to death. And we are on reparation now. One African should be without a home. That would be a down payment on a home. Not one part should be closed. That would be a down payment, and it'll make everybody healthy. Not one street should be unpaid. Not one person should be in that prison, what they call the Injustice Center, over there locked up for $100 a day. You could live in a hotel, but they'd rather have an African locked up after they so-called commit a crime, in most cases for stealing because they can't eat. But the same person who locked them up stole us for more than 600 years. And you're going to tell me we steal it?
Hold the mic, Jess.
We're not stealing. They stole us. They stole us. That's what happened. Anytime you kidnap somebody, steal them, and then deprive them of the right for food. I know because I've been homeless before. I was homeless at 15. When you don't have food, well, what are you going to do? When you're on the concrete, you can't grow food. With the right, they deny us the right for shelter. We have homelessness. We can build prisons, dungeons, concentration camps. Pay $100 a day to keep people in a prison. Pay $37,000 on the federal level to keep people in prison, but you can't build houses. You pay $30,000 a year right here in St. Louis, but you can't build houses. And then you got homelessness. You can't have enough food. You can't have enough shelter. You can't have decent clothes. You can't have any medical care. But it costs it costs $4 billion. It costs a year. It would cost less if we had medical care than if we universal health care. It costs more not to have it than it does to have it. But then we worry about making pharmaceutical companies rich, who some of those same people went into business off of the backs of our ancestors, all of them, not some of them, because there's no way they could have cleared the land, committed genocide against the Native Americans, and set up there and killed off Native Americans who had made us work. So while they were in universities, while they were doing all these things, taking our inventions and doing everything in the world, then they're going to sit up right today while we can spend almost $7 billion on the military, but we can't build houses. We can, and again, in St. Louis, they forget about, we did about, when I was a kid and went to prison, there was 2 prisons. One was for people under 17. When in Missouri, they get you early. They got me as soon as I turned 17, shipped me right to prison. But you're not supposed to be an adult till you're 18. Put me up there. Used to have a jail over there because you put you right there with the murderer, any kind of person they could find. But they couldn't put me in a school after I had left and been denied an education in the rural South. But that's the kind of priority. And I'm not lying on them. They know they do it. And nothing I say today that I won't say to anybody in the world. Because I don't have anything to be ashamed of to have. Because they should be ashamed of the richest country in the world. You got people without food. The richest country in the world, you got people without housing. The richest country in the world, you got people without medical care. And supposedly the Christianest country in the world. I would hate to see you talk. I don't know what Bible you read, because every part of the Bible I've ever read, and even the New Testament, there's not one part that says anything about rich people except it's as hard as for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into heaven. So even Jesus himself was about class struggle and a social. When you talk about curing people with medical, but that was not the material reality that we in the Uhuru movement, it was not science, but it certainly was not some stuff about let the poor suffer and like we are suffering now. But the main point that we are doing and that I appreciate you about is that we are talking about reparation. And this is not charity. Reparations, once we take over every community where you have African people, including the continent of Africa, then it's vulturistic. Capitalist society will not have any latitude of exploit. And it cannot survive without exploitation. It cannot survive. And it'll fall. It'll crash on its own wants Africa uses its own resources. Africa, you need to use its resources. Asians need to use the working class in Asia need to use their resources. The working class in Europe needs to use their resources because Europe would have been socialist, except they were able to turn the monsters will lose on Africa and Asia and the Native Americans here to diffuse the movement in Europe because Europe was was desperate. Europe was starving, so Europeans, so they just let loose in Australia and every place else over the world. They just let them come over here. So anybody that ran over here, don't sit back talking about how superior you are, because if it was that good over there, you better be over there. So you came here because it was bad over there. Who would come over here to a whole nother country? And then if it was that good, if you were that so being white was so great. So it's not about that. Well, it's about the resources, and it's about people like the Uhuru Solidarity movement who is honest and truthful, and we can reconcile this. We can say the world. This is we're gonna say the world. This is the only thing the Uhuru Solidarity Committee movement is the only way we can say the world. We talk about the environment. We talk about we talk about pollution. We talk about the greenhouse effect. Under capitalism, it's either we're going to get rid of capitalism or there will be no life as we know it. Period. There's no other alternative. There's only one alternative. What the Uhuru Solidarity Movement is promoting in this convention and what the African People's Socialist Party is promoting now, which is African internationalism. There is no other solution because there cannot be a bunch of capitalists being prosperous throughout the world. It just cannot happen. Even if you want it to happen, it cannot happen. Even if you love it, you may think you love it, but if you do love it, it can't happen. Even if you think it's good, it's not good because it can only be one or two monsters eating, and the rest of them are going to be exploiting the masses of people. So I want to salute the Uhuru Solidarity Movement for standing up, telling the truth. And I like what Comrade Penny has said. She's not making up stuff. They're not making up stuff. They're just telling the truth. So that's all we would need to do. And I want to say this. One thing about the truth, it always makes you free. So that's the reason I'm free too. So always just tell the truth. That's all you got to do. So I say that the Uhuru Solidarity movement, thank you for coming to St. Louis. Thank you for all the work that you did. And I'm so happy I had this opportunity to speak. And it has been my pleasure to meet you. And again, keep on telling the truth.
Thank you so much, Alderman Jesse Todd. Let's give it up for Alderman Jesse Todd. Uhuru. Unity through.
Reparations.
Unity through.
Reparations.
Unity through.
Reparations.
No more genocide
In our name.
No more genocide.
In our name.
No more genocide.
In our name.
All right, so this has been a really powerful rally. We do have a few more comrades who are going to show their support for what's happening here today, but we're actually going to do that a little bit closer to the arch. We're going to relocate just for a little bit. So I'm actually going to turn it over to Hallie, who is coordinating the logistics here in the yellow vest, who's going to give us directions on how we are going to migrate closer to this towering symbol of genocide and colonialism with this enormous declaration of reparations to African people. So, Uhuru.
Uhuru, thank you, everyone. I just want to salute all the powerful speakers today. Salute the African People's Socialist Party. So we are going to go on a short march to, if you can see, there's the museum here. We're going to be carrying these very large banners down here, and then we're on the left side here. We're going to go behind the museum, behind that railing, and then we're gonna center ourselves, and then we're gonna have a small rally up there behind that railing. So right now we need at least seven volunteers to help hold these poles. Really appreciate the comrades who've been doing this so far. It is a bit windy, so you want to have at least one hand pushing up as high as you can hold it, in case it's windy. Okay, great. So, great. Okay, so we're going to have, I think this whole row is going to kind of move backwards because we want the banners to be red, so we can read it here. Yeah, so this will be the last one. This will be the middle one. This banner here can be first, and maybe people might need help, so you want to stand next to someone holding a banner in case it's too windy and they need help or want to switch out so we can share. And then once we're done with our rally up there, we're going to march back on this side, so we're just gonna come right back here, lay them down, and we also have water here if anyone needs. There's granola bars. There's a bathroom in the museum just right when you walk in if anyone needs to go. So you want to add, we're going to walk down the sidewalk on this side. Well, we're gonna all right, so we're good. All right, so let's roll.
Through.
Peru.
We've got some people watching on the live.
Good. Peru, everyone.
Hello, one mic with you, brother. Keep the mic by your mouth. We love what you're saying. We gotta hear every word.
Okay then, how you doing, Senator? How are you, my neighbor and my senator? How you doing? It's always a pleasure.
Well, it's always a pleasure to see you, sir. And you're my mentor as well. You always taught me, and I speak to me. And I just speak to an educator I know. Yes.
Not to be confused with just time.
I know we say here, but we behind us. Yeah,
Oh, that one's first, and she's just fixing the banner.
okay.
All right. Well, we can stop. I mean, we can. We'll go. Thank you.
Ready?
Black Power matters.
Black Power matters.
Black Power matters. That's what matters is Black Power. And Black Power, all power to the people. Black Power, Black people.
So we'll have this banner go first.
It's all about power. Yes, power without the problem. I promise you don't have the power to control our
We said we bring up the back up, or you can spin around. So you're gonna be.
every dollar.
Yeah, you'll be going first.
We owe reparations. If we want it, we want it now.
When do we want it?
Right now.
When do we want it?
Right now. Reparations right now.
Reparations right now.
And we will have this.
You guys stay, you spin around, you walk. You come here, you walk. Oh, shit, sorry.
Oh,
So we're just out here fixing the banners. Then we're gonna get started.
There we go. Okay, so are you guys okay to carry this?
Nice.
The pole kind of looks good.
All right. We're back in action. Reporting live from downtown St. Louis at the reparations rally at the Arch to kick off the 2022 USM National Convention. It's a really powerful rally with great speeches from Jesse Todd and President Columbi.
All right, thanks for your patience, everyone. We want to just keep everyone safe, so if they come undone, just let me know. The Delmar Divide one will be first, the big one will be second, and you guys will be last. So let's start. So you guys can move forward, and you're gonna need teamwork because they are pretty big. So yeah, let's start going. All right, everybody? Reparations now! Reparations now!
Reparations now! Reparations now!
Make Wall Street pay. Reparations now. Make Wall Street pay. Make Wall Street pay.
Reparations now.
Make America pay. Make America pay. Make America pay. Make Wall Street pay. Make Wall Street pay. Rule through. 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 Make Wall Street pay. Make Wall Street pay. Make America pay. Make America pay. Make Wall Street pay. Make Wall Street pay. Make America pay. Make America pay. Make St. Louis City government pay.
Reparations now! Reparations now! Reparations now! Reparations now!
Reparations now! Reparations now! Reparations now! Reparations now! Reparations now! Reparations now! Reparations now! Reparations now! Reparations now! Reparations now!
End the Delmore divide.
Reparations now.
End the Delmore divide. End the Delmore divide.
Reparations now.
End the Delmore divide.
Reparations now.
End the Delmore divide.
Reparations now.
End the Delmore divide.
Reparations now. And the Delmar divide.
Reparations now.
And the Delmar divide.
Reparations now.
Make Wall Street pay.
Reparations now.
Make America pay.
Reparations now.
Make St. Louis government pay.
Reparations now.
Make Wall Street pay.
Reparations now.
Make America pay.
Reparations now.
Make America pay.
Reparations now.
Unity through.
Reparations.
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 Make Wall Street pay. Make America pay.
Reparations now.
Make America pay.
Reparations now.
Make America pay.
Reparations now.
Uhuru. Unity through.
Reparations.
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 Uhuru. Uhuru. All right, we made it. No more genocide. No more genocide. No more genocide. Uhuru. So now as we continue this historic rally for reparations to African people, organized by Uhuru Solidarity Movement under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party, before we segue into some closing remarks from the speakers that we heard earlier, we have a few more presentations and solidarity statements from those who have endorsed this demonstration and taken the courageous stand of being here with us today to stand in unity through reparations to African people. So first, it is my great honor to bring up Angelica from the Green Party, who is a staunch fighter for reparations to the Black community, who brings this struggle everywhere she goes, and who has done incredible work from within the Green Party and from within the Uhuru Solidarity Movement to make this demonstration today happen, and so much more. So, Uhuru, Angelica.
Hello, everybody. My name is, as you heard, Angelica. I'm a supporter of the Green, as a member of the Green Party for a long time, and I'm a supporter of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement and the Blackfall Blueprint here in St. Louis. The Green Party supports the call for reparations to the Black community. Our platform states, this country was built on stolen land and the backs of enslaved Africans who were never compensated for the more than 400 years of forced labor and suffering, exploitation, land loss, destruction of original identity, genocide, state violence, and the systemic racism continued in chattel slavery's aftermath and still haunts us the present in manifold ways. It is crucial to remember that this country's accumulation of wealth, and we've heard that in many statements before, and the global power, our highly industrialized capitalist economy, and our own standard of living is based on all these atrocities. That is why people of African ancestry have legitimate claims to reparations. This means reparations are a debt owed, not charity. And they are owed not only for past wrongs, but also for the ongoing looting of resources, oppression, and deliberate destruction of Black communities all over this country.
Come on.
Almost 50 years ago, I volunteered for a year in a community center on St. Louis North Side. Back then, College Hill was 85% Black. There were already signs of disinvestment and deterioration, but it was still a livable and a vibrant community. When I came back 25 years later, I was shell-shocked. North City resembled a war zone. My first thought was, what does it do to people who have to walk past ruins and vacant lots every day, who see nothing but liquor stores, boarded up businesses, and decaying school buildings for sale, where police repression is a constant reminder that you live under siege. City Hall and even Black Orders had declared the North Side a sacrifice zone, with this Team 4 plan that actually was in the making in 1973 when I was first here, but nobody knew about it because it was it ended up in a drawer, was actually resurrected when Mayor Bosley came into office. Otherwise, nobody would have ever known about it. So it was declared a sacrifice zone, whereas, Soulard basically some time later was rehabbed to the, state of the art, and all that money went back down to the south side, whereas the north side was, kind of really decaying. So City Hall and even Black Orders had declared the north side a sacrifice zone, letting it deliberately bleed to death in preparation for future redevelopment, like we see now, with the NGA, for the National Geospatial Spy Agency and stuff like that. Meanwhile, another generation has grown up with the tragic compounding effects of economic depletion, systemic racism, cultural desolation, and intergenerational trauma caused by what can be rightfully termed neo-colonial conditions. Reparations are owed. The Green Party acknowledges that leadership on the question ought to come from the Black community. We recognize the right of the Black community to chart its own path of healing. Here in St. Louis, this path is laid out in the Blackfall Blueprint. It is a concept to create self-determined projects of self-reliance for African and colonized communities everywhere. Since the Uhuru movement came to North St. Louis after the murder of Mike Brown in 2014, there has been a shift from food apartheid and a lack of economic productivity to a beautiful community garden with fresh vegetables and a monthly farmer market that connects with local growers. And this year, I think it will be weekly even. This One Africa, One Nation marketplace is the first of more economic development by and for the Black community designed to contend with City Hall's strategy of pushing poor and working class Black people out. The basketball court will be coming. There's a women's health center in the making, I heard, and the Jico kitchen and cafe and housing for people coming out of prison. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that, the community will get over there through the Blackfall Blueprint. The Green Party of St. Louis demands an end to gentrifying the North Side. We call as Green Party on City Hall to pay reparations by funding the Blackfall Blueprint. We believe that all African and oppressed peoples have the right to access and control their own resources.
Hooroo!
The Green Party of St. Louis calls on all white people to get on the right side of history, support genuine African liberation and reparations to the Blackfall Blueprint.
Thank you, Angelica!
Thank you, Angelica. Let's give another round of applause for Comrade Angelica from the Green Party. Unity through
Reparations!
All right, so for our last solidarity statement, we have Joe Ponzillo, who will be speaking to us on behalf of the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Joe. Thank you, everybody. The Party for Socialism and Liberation St. Louis fully supports reparations to the new African nation. We support making Wall Street pay reparations, and we fully stand in solidarity with the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. Now, there's a way we can get Wall Street to pay reparations. I want everyone here to take out their phones. If you have Twitter, I want you to go on Twitter right now. I want you to go to the Uhuru Solidarity on Twitter. Come on, everyone, phones out if you got it. Fair enough. I want you to retweet it. In New York City, a man named Christian Smalls, he was fired from Amazon. He was a black worker. At the start of the pandemic, people at the warehouses in Staten Island were getting sick from coronavirus. He staged a walkout to try and protect his coworkers, and he got retaliated and fired by Amazon. Now he's trying to unionize the warehouse in Staten Island. And today we're going to try and get Unionize Amazon trending. Now I want us to go to the Uhuru Solidarity page on Twitter and retweet. Hashtag Unionize Amazon, hashtag reparations, hashtag make Wall Street pay reparations. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Joe.
Uhuru! Thank you, Joe. Uhuru! I just really want to salute everybody who's out here today. And when people come to try to disrupt that, they're standing for and in unity with the police murder of George Floyd, of Mike Brown. They're standing for the enslavement of African people, the lynchings. They're standing for genocide against the indigenous people. And we're here to say that African people are going to be free. This land belongs to the indigenous people, and reparations must be paid. And that all white people owe reparations. It's been said that whether we're poor, whether we're rich, we sit on the backs of the oppression of African people. Everything we have comes as the result of the enslavement of African people and the genocide of the indigenous people. That is the reality that we face. If we want to be part of a future, we have to stand on the forward side of history, and that's under the leadership of the African Revolution, which is led by the African working class community people around the world fighting for control over their resources, creating their own mode of production controlled by and for the needs of the people. So, Uhuru, and I want to call on people to register for the Uhuru Solidarity Movement's convention that starts tomorrow. Do you have the information on that?
Yeah, I can say some more about it.
Uhuru, everyone. Unity through reparations. Unity through reparations. Uhuru, so tomorrow, this weekend, online, we are having our national annual Uhuru Solidarity Movement National Convention. You can register at uhurusolidarity.org/register. And that is, we are going to hear keynote speaker, Chairman Angelica, leader of the African People's Socialist Party, Uhuru Chairman. We are going to learn more about the Blackfall Blueprint, the incredible Black economic development project being built right here in St. Louis. Salute Deputy Chair Ona Kane Yoshitella. She will be a speaker. We're going to hear from Chairwoman Penny Hess, and just an incredible, dynamic 2-day conference about white people in solidarity with Black power and reparations to African people. Uhuru! So we really hope you can tune into that. And you gotta be there. This is day 1 of the convention. Tomorrow, the weekend is day 2 and 3. So that's please go to uhurusolidarity.org to sign up, see the whole program. And that's our convention. So, Uhuru, do we have other speakers for today? All right, so thank you, everyone. It's been Unity through reparations. Unity through reparations. Uhuru. Reparations now. Reparations now. Uhuru. We can walk back to the front over here. Actually, let's just set them down. I'll help. Okay. All right, so people holding banners, we're going to continue marching this way back to our station up there. Woohoo! Jesse, you get the speakers.
Any final statements for the live stream?
PeruSolidarity.org/register. Come to the national convention this weekend. Unity through reparations.
Awesome.